Hey everyone, it's Kai from Cool Collectibles, back again for another review. This time it's the reissue of the Revoltech Jessie from Toy Story. For all the amazing figures coming out of Japan, click the link in the description below to head on over to Big Bad Toy Store. They ship worldwide, so definitely check them out. Alright, I got the reissue version of Buzz and Woody back at the end of 2015 I think, and I've been waiting for this reissue of Jessie ever since then. So it's been almost 4 years I think. Even when I went to Frank & Sons and looked on eBay, the prices of this original release ranged I think from about 150 to upwards of 250 US, which is pretty insane for this size of figure. So I'm glad I definitely waited for this reissue, and they finally announced it recently. It seems to be a fairly quiet release. Normally I thought they announce and show more photos, but this time it's been pretty quiet. But either way, I'm glad it came up, and I'm glad I got this for the retail price around the 60 to 70 US mark. But just to quickly go through the box and so on, you get all the usual artwork there, all the various different accessories and faces and so on. Love the accessories on these things. The only issue I had with mine that I didn't realize until I completely unboxed and compared it with the other two, there is meant to be a nameplate in this section here, and mine straight out of the box didn't even have it. So I went back to my original unboxing photos to confirm that I didn't miss it or lose it, and it wasn't even in the packaging. So Big Bad Toy Store have already sent the replacement part, which is great on their part. But just be aware, just make sure you double check everything. The figure wise, it comes with this stand. Now I did go back and check some of the original reviews of this figure, and I don't think it came with this stand. It seemed to have come with like a little orange box for your accessories or something, and I think it's definitely needed for this particular figure. Her feet are pretty damn small, and it's very hard to get her to stand, so I'm glad they included this stand. Love the two alternate head sculpts, so you do have the choice of three. I've got the big smiling version on at the moment, and this one here is just your usual half smiling, and this one is to replicate that scene where she's sad and reminiscing about her previous owner. And I love that all of the head sculpts have these movable eyes at the back, so you can get them into all sorts of crazy cross-eyed poses if you so wish. But you can even you need to sort of get your fingernails in there, to be honest, and mine aren't that long, and my fingers are pretty fat, so it can get a little bit tricky, or you just sort of roll your eyes over the front of it to get it back. But I'll be sticking with this one. Now the hat, cowboy hat, it does look like it's molded to her hair there, but it doesn't really seem to sit very well on mine at all. It tends to just sort of sit there like that, but if you tilt her head back or anything like that, it starts to sort of get loose and fall off. So it would have been nice if you could push it down a little bit further, and I don't know if you just need to heat it up and push it down, but I think the Woody one fit a little bit better. Now to swap out the head sculpts, it comes in two pieces actually. It's got this, I think you just pull out from the bottom, or the ears, without trying to scratch the paint. So you get that, and then this headpiece comes off, and you pretty much just put it all back to put her hair back on. Now straight out of the box, this double joint here, there is a joint at the bottom on a ball peg there, but this one at the top here was extremely tight. I think it's painted slightly different to the other parts of the skin. But the paint I think had stuck, so I had to dip that in some boiling water for 10 seconds or so to loosen it up, and then I was able to move it loose, and now it gives you all that sort of range of articulation that you would expect. Now this being Revoltech, or Revoltech, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, the joints do take a little bit of getting used to. The only other versions I have are the Buzz and Woody and the 4 Nickelodeon TMNT figures. And even in the instructions, they do suggest that you pull the joint out, and then you can adjust it to whichever position you sort of want, and then put it back on the figure. And you sort of can hide, this sort of crisscrossing joint on the inside and so on. but you can have lots of articulation. It sort of hides the joint more when you're in those dynamic poses, which helps. And I'll probably have mine in that sort of dancing kick, whatever they call it, hippie dance thing, or cowgirl dance thing, with her doing that yodeling pose that I had her in just before. I might put her back in that pose. Hold on. So that's pretty much the sort of thing that I'm going for. I think there was an example on the packaging which I liked. A few other photos on the web and so on have some pretty good poses as well. So there's lots of options that you can have. Even the hair moves at the back there. The braiding and the design on the hair isn't too bad. I like that. There's actually a joint at the top there and a joint at the bottom. This pin here, be very careful of that. You don't snap that off. That doesn't seem to move or anything like that. That's where you're meant to have the drawstring, I think. Everything else looks pretty good. The sort of paint application details are pretty sharp. I do like the patterning of the red there, which is nice and sharp. The belt is a floating piece, and it looks pretty good. And I think the black and white for the cow skin and so on looks pretty good too. As I was saying before, her feet are pretty small, so it is going to be pretty tricky to get her to stand up. I do like the Andy there, but as I was saying, they do have the stand, so I'll clamp that around the waist there, next to Buzz and Woody. But I might grab the other two just for a quick comparison. Oh, before I do that, I better go through the rest of the accessories. It does come with a rope that I think is already tied, so I probably won't untie that all, but you can get that into some nice poses as well. It's pretty flexible, so I don't think it's actually rope, but it's just some very flexible plastic. And of course you get a whole raft of different action hands, thumbs up, pointing, etc. So lots of different options. I would suggest being very careful with the tacking on and off of the hands in case you snap the little ball joints or the ball pegs there. But other than that, they're all very nicely done. But now I'll get to the other two. Hold on. Alright, here is Jessie next to Woody and Buzz, and I have to say they do perfectly complement each other. I think the way they've designed it, all the colours and so on, really take me back to at least the first three movies. I think the first three movies have been my favourite anime movies for a long time. And this particular figure, I think you can get it at this price. Screw the scalpers on eBay, and definitely get it while you can before it sells out again. So these three reissues, I'm glad, I think it's Kyoto reissued them, and they do look pretty good on display. The colours do pop, and they're amongst my favourite in this particular scale anyway. So hopefully you like that quick look at this new Jessie figure. Hopefully you can click that like and subscribe button, and stay tuned for some of my things coming up. I do have the Storm Collectible Street Fighter 2 figures coming fairly soon, so hopefully you can stick around for that. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.